Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly create their dream lives while others struggle despite their best efforts? I want to share with you a powerful idea. Think in the fifth dimension and your reality will change. This concept, inspired by my work, is about shifting your consciousness to a higher state of being to transform your reality. Let's dive into how you can achieve this and why it works. Imagine for a moment that you are living in a world where your current reality is like a movie that you are playing on repeat. This movie is made up of your past experiences, memories, and emotions. Every time you think about something, you are adding scenes to this movie, shaping your life based on what has already happened. But what if I told you that you have the power to change the movie, to step into a new dimension where the script is entirely different? This new dimension is what we call the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is not a physical place, but a higher level of consciousness. It's a state of being where your thoughts and emotions are not limited by your past experiences. In the fifth dimension, you operate from a place of potential and possibility rather than from a space of limitation and lack. When you think in the fifth dimension, you are stepping beyond the constraints of your current reality and tapping into a field of infinite possibilities. To begin this process, you need to understand that your current state of being, how you think and feel, is a result of past conditioning. Your brain is like a record of all your past experiences. It holds on to memories and emotions, creating a neural pattern that influences how you perceive your present reality. These patterns dictate how you respond to situations and can limit your ability to envision new possibilities. If you want to create a new reality for yourself, it's important to break free from old patterns. These patterns are like habits or ways of thinking and feeling that you've developed over time. They might be holding you back and keeping you stuck in a way of life that doesn't serve you anymore. To move into a new and better reality, you need to reprogram both your brain and your body to align with a higher level of consciousness, often referred to as the fifth dimension. But how do you go about doing that? The key is to start by changing your thoughts and emotions. Our thoughts and emotions are powerful. They shape our reality and influence how we experience life. By changing the way you think and feel, you can create new neural connections in your brain. Let's explore what that means and how it works. Think of your brain as a vast forest. In this forest, there are many paths or neural connections that your brain has formed over time. These paths represent your current ways of thinking and feeling. They have been shaped by your experiences, habits, and repeated patterns of thought. If you want to create a new reality, you need to build new paths in this forest. These new paths will guide you toward different outcomes and experiences. When you begin to think in new ways, your brain starts to create new neural connections. Imagine you're walking through the forest and you decide to take a new path. At first, the path might be overgrown and difficult to navigate, but as you keep walking on it, it becomes clearer and easier to follow. This is similar to how new neural connections form in your brain. The more you think in new ways, the stronger and more established these new paths become. Changing your thoughts isn't always easy because it involves breaking free from old ingrained patterns, but with practice, you can make it happen. Start by becoming aware of your current thought patterns. Notice the thoughts and beliefs you hold about yourself and your life. Are they positive and empowering, or are they negative and limiting? Identifying these patterns is the first step towards changing them. Next, begin to replace old, limiting thoughts with new, positive ones. For example, if you've been thinking, "I'm not good enough," try replacing that thought with, "I am capable and worthy." As you consistently practice these new thoughts, your brain will start to form new neural connections that support these positive beliefs. Start by shifting your focus from what is lacking in your life to what you want to create. This shift requires a change in your emotional state. Emotions are powerful because they are the language of the body, and they drive your thoughts and actions. If you are feeling stuck in fear, anxiety, or anger, those emotions will keep you in a lower state of being, limiting your ability to see and create new possibilities. To move into the fifth dimension, you need to transform these base emotions into higher, more expansive feelings such as joy, love, and gratitude. One way to facilitate this transformation is through meditation. Meditation allows you to step out of the constant stream of thoughts and emotions that typically occupy your mind. When you meditate, you create space between your current self and the thoughts that are keeping you anchored to your past. In this space, you can begin to access a higher state of consciousness, one that is not constrained by your previous experiences. During meditation, the goal is to guide your brainwaves through different states to achieve a deeper and more productive mental state. Here's a simple breakdown of how this works and why it's important for personal growth and transformation. When you start meditating, your brainwaves are typically in the beta state. Beta brainwaves are associated with active thinking and problem solving. This is the state you are in when you are awake and engaged in tasks that require concentration and mental effort. It's a busy and alert state of mind where you are processing information and dealing with everyday activities. As you begin to relax and enter a meditative state, your brain waves start to shift from beta to alpha. Alpha is a more relaxed state of mind. In this state, you are calmer and more open to new ideas. You might find that your thoughts are less scattered and you feel a sense of peace and ease. Alpha brainwaves are often associated with light meditation and creative thinking. It's a bridge between the busy beta state and the deeper, more profound states of theta and delta. Moving deeper into meditation, your brainwaves transition to theta. Theta is a much deeper state of relaxation where your subconscious mind becomes more accessible. In this state, you are more connected to your inner self and can access deeper layers of your mind. Theta brainwaves are linked with deep relaxation, vivid dreams, and creativity. It's also where you can start to work on changing your mindset and beliefs. When you are in theta, your subconscious mind is more receptive to new ideas and suggestions, which makes it a powerful time for reprogramming your thought patterns. Finally, as you go even deeper, your brain waves can enter the delta state. Delta is the state of deep sleep or restorative rest. When you are in delta, your body is in a state of profound relaxation and healing. This is the state where your body repairs itself and restores energy. While delta is not usually accessible during waking meditation, achieving this state means your body and mind are deeply relaxed, which can be beneficial for overall health and well-being. The key to effective meditation is to reach the theta state. In theta, you are in an optimal position to influence and reprogram your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like a garden where you can plant new seeds. These seeds are new beliefs, positive affirmations, or desired changes in your life. By reaching theta, you can plant these seeds deeply into your subconscious, where they have the potential to grow and influence your daily life. When you are in theta, your mind is less critical and more accepting. This allows you to introduce new ideas and beliefs that align with your goals and aspirations. For example, if you want to cultivate more confidence or attract positive experiences into your life, you can use theta meditation to reinforce these desires. By regularly practicing this, you help to align your subconscious mind with the possibilities of the fifth dimension, a concept often associated with higher levels of consciousness and transformation. As you practice this, you'll find that your perception of reality begins to change. You'll start to notice opportunities that you previously overlooked, and your ability to manifest new experiences will improve. This shift happens because you are no longer operating from your old patterns and limitations. Instead, you are engaging with a higher level of consciousness where everything is possible. But here's the crucial point. Thinking in the fifth dimension is not just about having lofty ideas or daydreaming. It's about taking real, concrete actions that align with your new state of being. When you are in the fifth dimension, you make decisions from a place of abundance and possibility, not from a place of lack and fear. This means you need to act as if you are already living in the reality you want to create. If you want to be successful, start acting like a successful person. If you want to be healthy, begin making choices that a healthy person would make. The actions you take should reflect your new state of being. When you do this, you signal to the universe that you are ready to receive and experience new possibilities. It's also important to recognize that your environment can impact your state of being. Surround yourself with people, places, and things that resonate with your new level of consciousness. If you are trying to elevate your state but are constantly exposed to negativity or limitations, it can be challenging to maintain your higher state of being. Choose to engage with experiences that support your growth and align with your vision of the fifth dimension. One powerful practice you can use to create the life you want is regular visualization. Visualization means forming a clear and detailed picture in your mind of what you want to achieve. This technique is not just about daydreaming, it's a focused and intentional way to shape your reality. When you visualize, you imagine yourself already living the life you want. For example, if you want to be successful in your career, you picture yourself in a successful position, achieving your goals. You imagine the details, the environment, the people around you, and even how it feels to succeed. This mental image helps your brain to begin believing in the reality you're creating. Visualization works because it activates the same neural pathways in your brain as if you were actually experiencing what you are imagining. Think of your brain as a network of roads and pathways. When you have a thought or experience something, it creates a specific pattern of activity in these pathways. By visualizing your desired outcome regularly, you are effectively training your brain to create the same patterns as if you were really achieving your goal. This process is like rehearsing for a performance. Just as an actor practices their role to become more convincing, your brain practices the reality you want to create. When you visualize often, these new pathways become stronger and more established. Over time, this helps to make your desired outcome feel more real and achievable. Another key benefit of visualization is that it helps to align your emotions with your goals. When you vividly imagine your success, you feel the emotions associated with it, whether it's happiness, pride, or excitement. These positive feelings strengthen your belief in your ability to achieve your goals. Your emotions play a significant role in your overall mindset, and aligning them with your goals can make a big difference in how you approach challenges and opportunities. Visualization also helps you to stay focused and motivated. When you have a clear image of what you want, it becomes easier to stay on track and work towards your goals. It serves as a constant reminder of why you are taking certain actions and making specific decisions. This clarity can keep you driven and help you push through obstacles or setbacks. Additionally, visualization can positively influence your behavior. By imagining yourself successfully completing tasks and overcoming challenges, you prepare yourself mentally for real-life situations. For instance, if you visualize giving a successful presentation, you are more likely to approach the actual presentation with confidence. This practice can help you to perform better and handle situations more effectively. To make visualization even more effective, incorporate as much detail as possible. The clearer and more detailed your mental image, the more powerful the visualization. Picture every aspect of your desired outcome. See the colors, hear the sounds, and feel the textures. The more you immerse yourself in the experience, the more your brain will treat it as a reality. It's also helpful to visualize regularly, ideally every day. The consistency helps to reinforce the neural pathways and keeps a rush of adrenaline, rush of energy. And so people use the problems and conditions in their lives to reaffirm their addiction to that emotion so they can remember who they are as a somebody. So then if your thoughts can turn on the stress response and the stress chemicals are addictive, then we become addicted to our own thoughts. So then stepping out into that unknown is where true greatness happens, because that's where the person begins to say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? What behaviors will I want to demonstrate in my new life? Can I rehearse them in my mind? And the mere process of mental rehearsal, this is neuroscience now, begins to install the circuits in your brain to look like the experience has already occurred. You're priming your brain into the map of the future instead of the record of the past. And then the true person who's in the process of transformation will say, can I teach my body emotionally what that future is going to be like? Can I begin to embrace the joy of my new life? And their body, as their unconscious mind, begins to believe it's in the future instead of in the past. Now that process is not an overnight process. We don't jump from the old self to the new self. It requires that continuous process of changing our biology. But I can tell you, in observing people who have healed themselves of very serious health conditions, who've healed themselves of some pretty difficult scars from the past, who've overcome addictions, who've created new opportunities and new jobs and new relationships and a new life, had to cross that river. And that is when they're literally, from a biological standpoint, a new personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's sitting here today has created the present personal reality called their life, which means then if you want to create a new personal reality, you got to change your personality. And that means you got to start thinking about what you've been thinking about and change it. Look at your unconscious habits and behaviors, what you say, what you do, and become conscious of it and change them. And look at the emotions that have kept you anchored to the past and decide if those emotions belong in your future. I think the biggest problem is that most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. So then as we begin to demystify this, the person starts to say, oh my God, the disease that I have is because it's connected to this personality. Is it possible that if I change my personality, just like a person with a multiple personality disorder who has an allergy to nylon stockings in one personality and type 1 diabetes in another, is it possible then, if I change my personality, that the disease exists in the old personality and I'm literally someone else? Is it possible then, from a biological standpoint, that they're healed and changed? So to answer the question, it's difficult because we're breaking out of a biological mold. It's difficult because most people don't know that they have within their reach all the tools to do it, because they have, number 3, been conditioned on some level to believe that the new hairstyle or the new type of beer they're going to drink or the sports car or whatever it is going to change their state. And that's the hypnosis. And when I wrote The Placebo, You Are the Placebo, the biggest thing that I walked away with after writing that book was how hypnotized and programmed we really are. And that's bothered me ever since I wrote the book, because people watch things in their external environment and they accept, believe, and surrender to that information without any analysis, and they're programmed. Some of the research shows that, 90% of the thoughts that we think on a daily basis are the same thoughts as the day before. So if you think that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and 90% of your thoughts are the same known thoughts that you're always thinking, then your life should stay the same. Because the same thoughts lead to the same choices. The same choices lead to the same behaviors. Same behaviors create the same experiences. The same experiences produce the same emotions. Those same emotions tend to influence the way we think, and our biology, our neurocircuitry, our neurochemistry, our hormones, and even our gene expression is equal to how we think, how we act, and how we feel. And how you think, how you act, and how you feel is called your personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. So then it makes sense then, if you want to create a new personal reality, a new life, you're going to have to change your personality. And you've got to start thinking about what you've been thinking about and change it. You've got to become aware of your unconscious habits and behaviors, even how you speak. Then you have to look at the emotions that you live by every single day and decide, do these emotions belong in my future? So many people try to create a new life as the same person. In order to create a new personal reality, you've got to change your personality. So the principle in neuroscience says that nerve cells that fire together wire together. Thinking the same way, making the same choices, demonstrating the same actions, creating the same experiences that stamp the same networks of neurons into the same patterns, all for the familiar feeling called you. And you do that for 10 years in a row, you're going to hardwire your brain into a very finite signature because you're firing and wiring that way. And that box in the brain, that becomes our personality, becomes our identity. And by the time we're 35 years old, for the most part, we've done something so many times that the body now knows how to do it as well as the mind. And that's a habit. So we have these unconscious programs of behaviors, automatic habits, redundant emotional reactions, hardwired beliefs, perceptions, attitudes that function just like a computer program. You press go and it runs automatically. So then when it comes time to change, thinking positively is going to do nothing because your body has been conditioned for the most part into a program in the past. So the thought never makes it to the body because the body's on a different program. So how do we begin to influence the body so that the thought actually produces some type of change? So think about it. If you think an unhappy thought, you're going to feel unhappy. If you think you're a failure, you're going to feel like a failure. Once you feel like a failure, you're going to think you're a failure. And people get caught in these loops of thinking and feeling and feeling and thinking. And that redundancy is a conditioning process because all you need is an image or a picture or a thought and a feeling, a response, stimulus response. And so the people tend to condition their brain and body into the past. And so when it comes time to change, you gotta leave that familiar territory. And any choice that you make, if you said, hey, I'm gonna eat a better diet, I'm gonna wake up early and work out, I'm gonna do meditation, the moment you decide to do something differently, get ready because it's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna feel unfamiliar. There's gonna be some uncertainty. You're not gonna be able to predict the next moment. That means you've left your known biology and you're stepping into the unknown. Now, theoretically, that sounds great, but if the body has been conditioned into a familiar feeling, it's in the known. The moment you take it outside the familiarity, it wants to go back to where it's comfortable. So the body starts influencing the mind, and this is where people say, I want you to start your diet tomorrow. Oh, why don't you start working out this evening? You're really never going to change. You're too tired, you have a headache, this doesn't feel right. And this is where people talk themselves out of it. Because if they respond to that thought leads to the same choice, which leads to the same behavior, creates the same experience, produces the same feeling, and then they say, this feels right, no, that feels familiar. So going from one state of mind and body to another state of mind and body, you gotta cross a river. And the hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. Now, once people understand that they're going to be uncomfortable, then the question is, what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors will you demonstrate in one day? And the act of closing your eyes and rehearsing who you're going to be when you open your eyes begins to install neurological hardware in your brain to look like you've already done it. Now the brain, which is typically a record of the past, now becomes a map to the future. And if you keep doing it, the hardware begins to become a software program, and you start behaving differently. And then if you can teach your body emotionally what the future will feel like, that means then you're not going to wait for your wealth to feel abundant, or your success to feel empowered, or your new relationship to feel love. In fact, the moment you start feeling abundant, you're generating wealth. The moment you start embracing empowerment, you're stepping towards your success. The moment you're in love with yourself and you're in love with life, you start creating equals in your life. Now, your brain is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain is a reflection of your external environment. It's an artifact of all the things you've learned and experienced to date. Feelings and emotions are the end product of past experiences. And if you're feeling the same way every single day, it means two things. Number one, nothing new is happening in your life. And if those emotions are driving certain thoughts, and those thoughts then are creating the same emotions, then your thinking equal to your emotional state means you're thinking in the past. And if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, as long as you're thinking equal to your familiar emotions, you keep reaffirming the same past experiences in your life over and over again. Our research shows without a doubt in the last 3 years that when students of our work combine a clear intention. Now, intention is a vision, a potential that already exists in the quantum field that you get to select. And when you ask yourself a question like, what would it be like to be healthy? What would it be like to be wealthy? What would it be like to be free or to be in love? The moment you ask that creative question, a part of your brain called the frontal lobe turns on. That's the crowning achievement of the human being. Once that area of the brain turns on, it's like a great symphony leader. It looks out of the landscape of the entire brain, and it begins to randomly select different networks of neurons that are connected to the things you've learned in your life or the experiences you've had. And it begins to seamlessly paste them together to create an ideal, a vision, or an internal representation. That is a potential experience that's awaiting you, but it's not enough to just have the mind involved. Thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and how you feel creates a state of being. Once you can begin to emotionally embrace that future reality before it's made manifest, when you combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion, the freedom, the joy, the inspiration, the genuine love that you feel or gratitude from that experience, the moment you do that, your body as the unconscious mind begins to believe it's living in that future reality in the present moment. Now you're moving into a new state of being, into a new personality, and a new personality creates a new personal reality. The research that we've done shows that when we teach people how to regulate their internal states, to begin to create more coherence in their brain, and to generate elevated emotions like joy and gratitude and inspiration, that not only does the brain become coherent, but so does the heart. And when the brain is coherent, the heart is coherent. When the heart is coherent, the brain is coherent. And so why don't we live by these states on a daily basis? Primarily because the majority of the time that we live in our waking state of consciousness, 70% of the time, you and I are living by the hormones of stress. And living in stress is living in survival. And when you're living in survival, the very chemicals of survival cause you to function as materialist, defining your reality with your senses. You pay attention to objects and things and people. You begin to believe that your outer world is more real than your inner world. And the side effect of this over time begins to cause us to feel separate from possibility. Why? Because when you're threatened by some predator or some danger in your life, it's not a time to go in. It's not a time to trust the unknown. It's not a time to open your heart and feel love. It's not a time to communicate. It's not a time to create. It's not a time to learn. It's a time to survive. So then, in order for us to create, we have to lay down the very thing we used our whole life to get what we want for something greater to occur. And most importantly, we want you to understand when you're in the creative state and when you're not. And if you were to take a little time every day and apply some of the principles in changing beliefs and perceptions about yourself and your life, and what is a belief other than a thought you keep thinking over and over again. And all beliefs are based on past experiences. And in order for you to change a belief or perception about yourself and your life, you have to make a decision with such firm intention that the amplitude of that decision carries a level of energy that's greater than the hardwired programs in your brain and the emotional conditioning in your body. And your body literally has to respond to a new mind. And when the choice becomes an experience that you never forget, that's the moment the past biologically no longer exists in you. People use the word victim so much, and I don't really think we spend a lot of time really unraveling the idea. But if I said to you, Jay, how are you doing today? And you said, well, I'm really upset because of this person or this circumstance or this condition in my life, then what we're saying, this is not conscious, this is an unconscious program. What we're saying is somebody out there is actually controlling the way I'm feeling and the way that I'm thinking. So if something out there is controlling your feelings and your thoughts, you're victim to whoever, whatever that is.